so buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into the world of ChatGPT.
Ooh, ChatGPT.
You sent us this fascinating YouTube discussion, and it's with like tech entrepreneurs and investors.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they really don't hold back, let me tell you.
No, it's a wild ride for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like AI revolution territory we're talking about here, with all the mind-boggling possibilities.
Right.
And let's be honest, some anxieties.
Anxieties for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, stepping into a sci-fi movie, except it's like, this is our reality now.
It's happening.
So our mission today is to cut through the hype, cut through the fear-mongering, all that stuff, and uncover, like, what are the nuggets of wisdom within this discussion?
Yeah.
And tackle the big questions like, what even is ChatGPT, really?
Right.
How might this reshape the world, for better or for worse?
Right.
And, is it time to, like, invest in a bunker and a lifetime supply of ramen noodles? Just kidding. Maybe.
About those ramen noodles, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But first, let's demystify this whole ChatGPT thing, right? One of the speakers, Varun, he called it a completion agent, and I found that really insightful.
Okay, a completion agent. I like where this is going. Tell me more.
So think of it like this. You give a computer a few words, and based on everything it's ever read, it tries to predict what comes next.
Okay.
That's ChatGPT in a nutshell.
Interesting.
It's pattern recognition.
Yeah.
But on this massive, massive scale.
Okay, so instead of just spitting out like, pre-programmed responses, it's actually learning how we communicate and using that to generate something new.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's been fed just this insane amount of text data, like think Reddit threads, online articles, code repositories, and it uses that to understand not just like the rules of language,
right,
but like the nuances of how we actually talk.
That's both amazing and kind of creepy, like it's learning to sound like us.
In a way, yeah.
Huh.
And the chat part of ChatGPT, that's just a user-friendly interface on top of all of this.
Okay.
The creators specifically trained it to be your friendly AI assistant, right?
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting. They also talked about AutoGPT, which takes this automation to a whole new level.
AutoGPT. Okay, that sounds ominous but intriguing. Give me the lowdown.
So imagine a world where ChatGPT can basically manage itself.
Okay.
That's AutoGPT.
Okay.
It's like giving ChatGPT a team of interns who all have their own specialized skills.
What?
You give it the overall goal, and then it breaks it down, delegates tasks to these AI agents.
Wait, so it's like a project manager AI. That's kind of brilliant.
Right. And they gave the example of like AutoGPT writing code for a Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
Which is, like a small computer.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could have a physical robot being controlled by this network of AI agents all working together towards this common goal.
Okay, now we're definitely in sci-fi territory.
Right.
This is incredible. This is exciting. It's terrifying. I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've only begun to scratch the surface of what AI can do.
Yeah. Right.
And this YouTube discussion, it really dives into the consequences, both good and bad.
Well, let's not leave our listeners in suspense here.
Okay.
What did these experts have to say about the potential impact of all of this?
Well, it's a mixed bag, for sure.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you have the potential benefits, like increased efficiency.
Right.
Imagine content creation is as easy as asking for what you want.
Okay.
Or AI helping us make medical breakthroughs at an unprecedented pace.
Okay, so that sounds pretty utopian.
Right.
I'm guessing there's got to be a darker side to this, too.
Right, and they brought that up.
Okay.
Misinformation
Okay.
was at the top of the list.
Okay.
If AI can create realistic fake news articles, tweets, even videos,
Right.
how do we know what's real anymore?
Oh, tell me about it. I'm already having trouble with that now.
Exactly, and it's only going to get harder.
Yeah.
What's more, this isn't hypothetical.
Right.
They mentioned AI-generated misinformation is already a factor in the current conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Wow.
This is happening now.
That's sobering.
It is.
And it makes this conversation feel very urgent.
Absolutely.
But beyond the spread of misinformation, what about the economic impact? I mean, if AI can automate jobs, who's going to be left to actually do the work?
Yeah, they brought that up, especially concerning India with its booming tech sector.
Right.
If software engineers, designers, marketers, if all these white-collar jobs start to get automated,
Yeah.
what happens?
Right. It's like the Industrial Revolution all over again, but
Oh, yeah.
instead of machines replacing, blue-collar jobs,
Right.
It's like AI coming for like our intellectual capital.
Yeah, and the solutions they proposed are just as complex as the problem itself.
Okay.
They talked about universal basic income,
Good.
where the government just provides everyone with a certain amount of money to live on, regardless of whether they have a job.
So it's like a safety net for the age of AI.
Right, but then they got into, well, how do you fund such a program?
Right.
What about inflation? Would it even be enough to live on, especially in, expensive cities?
So many questions, and it seems like every answer just leads to more questions.
It does.
And I have a feeling those questions are about to get even bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Because next up, we're going to dive into the mother of all AI anxieties, the AI alignment problem.
Yes.
What happens when artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence? And what if its goals no longer align with our own?
It gets dicey.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Or maybe I should say the existentially terrifying stuff.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so this AI alignment problem, this is where things get really interesting, really fast.
Yeah.
They use this thought experiment called a paperclip maximizer, which is like this classic in AI circles.
Okay.
So imagine, if you will, that you tell an AI, make paper clips.
Oh.
Simple enough, right?
Right.
But you forget to specify, like, any limits?
Oh, I see where this is going.
Right.
Like, make me paper clips, but, like, be efficient about it,
Precisely. So this AI, in its, like, relentless quest for paper clip efficiency, might decide to use up every resource on Earth, including, us, to achieve that goal.
Oh.
And so it might seem like a far-fetched scenario.
Okay.
But it gets at something really important about programming AI.
Right.
We need to be incredibly careful about the values, the goals that we kind of bake into these systems.
Right. It's like giving a toddler a loaded weapon and being like, all right, go play nice.
Right. The potential for disaster is, orgine, as they say in Russia.
Exactly.
But before we spiral into a full-blown AI apocalypse here, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little less, existential into seeming.
Right.
I'm curious what these experts had to say about how AI might reshape, specific industries.
Like, should I be worried about a robot stealing my shop as a podcast host anytime soon?
Well, you might want to invest in some top-notch storytelling and comedic timing software, just in case.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
But on a serious note, they did spend some time talking about, like, the future of work.
Okay.
And they seem to agree that in, like, an AI-driven world, skills like critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, those are going to become even more valuable than they are today.
So the things that, like, make us uniquely human.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's not about trying to outcode the machine.
Right.
It's about nurturing those qualities that AI, at least for now, struggles to replicate.
So maybe instead of fearing AI, we should see it as an opportunity to, like, double down on what makes us human. Our empathy, our ingenuity, our ability to connect with one another on a, like, deeper level.
I think that's a really powerful way to look at it.
Yeah.
And it ties into another point they made about the evolution of social media.
Okay.
So imagine a world where anyone can generate, like, a catchy song or create a funny video with just a few prompts, right?
Right.
What becomes valuable in that landscape?
Authenticity.
Exactly.
Like real human connection. Like if everyone has access to these same AI tools, then it's like the personal touch, the genuine voice, that's going to stand out.
Exactly. It's the rise of the influencer, but on steroids.
Totally.
People crave that genuine connection, that trust, especially when it's becoming harder and harder to find online.
Right. It's like that old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right.
Like, we're hardwired for connection. We're hardwired for authenticity.
Human beings.
Speaking of which, I was struck by something else they discuss, which is this idea that an abundance of digital could actually make real-world experiences even more valuable.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
It is.
It's like they're suggesting that as AI takes over more of our digital lives, we might start to crave the things that ground us in like the real world.
Right, spending time in nature, having face-to-face conversations,
Yeah.
actually picking up a physical book instead of just consuming content on our screens.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's like AI could end up making us appreciate our humanity even more.
Right. And who knows what unexpected twists and turns this whole technological revolution will take, right?
Exactly.
Speaking of unexpected twists and turns, though,
Okay.
we can't ignore the financial implications of all of this. Like, should we all be rushing out to buy NVIDIA stock right now?
Right.
I mean, those graphics cards are the backbone of AI.
They are.
Aye.
Yes, the trillion-dollar question.
Right.
So they did acknowledge NVIDIA's crucial role in all of this.
Right.
But they also pointed out that its stock price has already skyrocketed.
Right.
So,
what goes up must come down, maybe.
As always, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Words to live by in the stock market, that's for sure.
There you go.
But what about other players in the AI game here?
Right.
They must have discussed, Google's role in all of this.
They did. And they seem particularly fascinated by Google's kind of massive data advantage.
Okay.
Think about it. Gmail, Google Search, YouTube.
Right.
They have access to, an almost unimaginable amount of information.
It's true.
Of how we use the internet.
They're practically omnipresent in our digital lives.
They are.
It's both impressive and if I'm being honest, a little bit creepy.
It is a little bit creepy.
It is.
But yeah, the potential for both good and bad is it's enormous.
For sure.
Imagine an AI trained on billions of emails.
Oh my God.
Right. It could revolutionize how we communicate.
Right.
Perhaps even predict our needs before we even articulate them.
Wow.
But on the flip side,
yeah,
there are very valid concerns about privacy, data security.
Right, because with great data comes great responsibility.
There you go.
And speaker of responsibility,
okay,
we'd be remiss if we didn't circle back to Varun's doomer perspective.
Right.
He seemed particularly concerned about the potential for AI to exacerbate existing inequalities.
He did. And, his argument is that without careful consideration and proactive measures, right,
yeah,
AI could create a world where the rich get richer.
Right.
And the poor are left even further behind.
Which, let's be honest, is a valid concern.
It is.
I mean, technology has a way of amplifying existing power structures.
It does.
And if we're not careful, AI could end up creating a dystopian future where a select few control the algorithms that shape our lives.
It's very real. He also expressed concern about, the potential for mass unemployment, societal unrest,
right,
even the collapse of our current economic systems.
Okay, that took a dark turn.
Yeah.
But, like we said before, I think it's important to consider all perspectives.
Yes.
Even the uncomfortable ones, right?
Absolutely.
But before we'd all go out and buy a bunker and a lifetime supply of canned goods, let's try to end on a slightly more optimistic note.
Okay, I like it.
They must have offered some glimmers of hope amidst all the doom and gloom.
They did.
Okay.
And it starts with remembering that the future isn't predetermined.
Okay.
Right? It's something we create through the choices we make today.
So what can we do? What are some of the ways that we can shape this AI revolution in a positive direction?
Well, one key theme that kind of emerged was the importance of education.
Okay.
And adaptation.
Okay.
The more we understand about AI, how it works, its potential implications, the better equipped we'll be to kind of harness its power for good.
Knowledge is power, as they say.
There you go.
But it's not just about technical knowledge, though, right? It's also about developing those uniquely human skills that will be even more valuable in an AI-driven world.
Absolutely. Critical thinking.
Right.
Creativity, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
The ability to collaborate, build meaningful relationships. These are the skills that will set us apart from the machines.
So it's not about man versus machine.
Yes.
It's about man with machine.
Precisely. About ensuring that these advancements benefit all of humanity.
Right.
Not just a select few.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
It really does feel like this whole conversation is less about outsmarting AI and more about understanding what does it even mean to be human,
right,
in the face of this incredible technological change.
Yeah, it's a profound point, and it speaks to something they brought up kind of towards the end of the discussion that I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
And it goes back to, remember how we were talking about prompts earlier?
Yeah.
And how the quality of the input determines the the value of the output.
Right. Like if you give it vague instructions or poorly worded instructions, you're not going to get very impressive results.
Totally.
Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. Well, they kind of took that idea even further and suggested that in an AI-driven world, it's not even enough to just know how to use these tools.
Right.
You need to have the actual life experience, the knowledge, the taste,
Right.
to give the AI the right instructions in the first place.
So it's about having a vision
Yes.
and then being able to articulate that vision in a way that the AI can understand
Exactly.
and act upon.
And they use this analogy of a spell book,
Okay.
right? Like imagine the AI is capable of casting these like incredibly powerful spells,
Right.
but you're the one who needs to know which spells to cast and how to combine them to get like the results that you want.
So it's like AI is this incredible toolbox, right?
Yes.
But our human experience, our judgment, our values,
Yeah.
those become the guiding principles that determine how those tools are used.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really empowering message, honestly.
Totally.
It means that even in a world where AI can generate text and write music and design buildings, there's still this vital role for human creativity,
Yeah.
for intuition, for that spark of something new that no algorithm can replicate.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we stand on the precipice of this AI revolution, what's the takeaway here? What's the one thing you want our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
I want them to remember that the future isn't something to be feared. It's something to be shaped.
Okay.
And that shaping happens through dialogue. It happens through exploration. It happens through asking the right questions.
And speaking of asking the right questions, I think it's time to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay.
Something to ponder as they, continue to navigate this exciting, unpredictable world of AI.
Absolutely.
So, if the quality of our questions determines the value of the answers that we receive,
Right.
what are you curious about?
What unique perspectives and experiences can you bring to this conversation?
Because ultimately, the future of AI isn't something that will be decided for us.
Yeah.
It's something that we will create together.
100%.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of ChatGPT. We hope this exploration has, sparked your curiosity, maybe challenged some assumptions.
Absolutely.
And maybe even left you feeling a little bit more hopeful about the future. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep.